Welcome to Mr. Ben Coaching Wednesday Watts. This week I thought I'd give you some coaching tips, over the next 6 videos on the components of fitness. This obviously, some of you guys will remember you back when you're doing your A-levels and GCSEs, it's the components of the required fitness for sport. Obviously football and cycling is different, so I'm going to look at it in cycling. So today I'm going to talk about aerobic endurance and muscular endurance. Then in the next few videos I'm going to talk about power, strength, flexibility and speed. I'm not going to talk all the way through 6 of them because it's quite a lot to talk about, but today I thought I'd just talk to you about aerobic endurance to start with and then following on to muscular endurance. So basically, what is aerobic endurance? Well, it's what I'm doing now effectively, but I would be doing this, it could be, all day long if I'm given food, but it's just about the ability to complete something again and again and again. That could be swimming, running and cycling for periods of time. That could be anything from a minute, and that sounds ridiculous, a minute up to 14 hours if you do an Ironman. So how do you train the aerobic endurance required? First of all, you need to look at your objectives, your goals and your event. Event's easier. For me, mountain biking and road cycling, probably anywhere from 1 hour up to 3 hours would be my required distance to get some aerobic endurance. 50 miles in simple terms, or a mountain bike race, it could be 10 miles or 15, depends on the course type. So that's my training time for it. Why do you need aerobic endurance? Well, without aerobic endurance, you're never going to succeed, and foremost, just about every sport you do, especially in the cycling background, swimming and running, requires aerobic endurance. If I go one extreme, swimming, if you're a 25 metre swimmer for a club, it isn't aerobic endurance at all. But you're also going to be doing perhaps heats, qualifying, races, final, perhaps 2 days. You might have 10 races, 15 races. You need that aerobic endurance to be able to pursue each one to its full ability. Then if we go on the other end of the spectrum, where we're looking at perhaps an Ironman, it's 14 hours. It's predominantly a low level intensity aerobic endurance discipline. So you need that. And when you train, your base training, whatever you want to call it, aerobic endurance training, the body adapts. It becomes better at using fats. We increase mitochondria. We allow the ligaments, the tendons, the joints and muscles to adapt to become a much more efficient human being, and that's what we do. Think about your distance, goals, objectives, and plan that in. It's really important that you do endurance training if your event is an endurance one. As simple as that. Okay, so we've spoke about aerobic endurance. Let's have a talk about muscular endurance. Hence the term endurance. Muscular endurance means doing something for long periods of time. With muscular, we require more force through the legs. So it's a much more strenuous session or ability to do than aerobic endurance. So you want the aerobic endurance, you also want muscular endurance. Now, classically, I've always suffered with weak muscular endurance. I don't think it's because genetically, I think it's just because I've not done enough of it in training. I've always done aerobic endurance or high-end interval work, but I've neglected muscular endurance. And whenever recent years I've done any road racing or mountain bike racing, which are 2 hours upwards or 50, 60 miles, I've always struggled. I've always got weak through here, quads have been cramping, and basically my body is saying, you've done way too much for me, I can't handle it anymore, I'm giving up. So how do I combat that? By making sure I'm starting to train more muscular endurance, and that could be a 60 or 90 minute sweet spot session just below my threshold intensity. It could be doing 3, 4, 5 minute hard efforts above threshold to bridge a gap, to find that mountain biker who's at the moment just round the corner from you, and that is where you need those efforts to be able to bridge across. If you're doing a sportif, you may go with a pack who are quite strong. When you come to the climbs, you're going to find you're working a lot harder, and over repeated bouts of hard efforts, muscular endurance, if you're not conditioned for it, your body will not allow you to do it. So it's well worth having some sessions or a session a week focusing on aerobic endurance, because you'll be surprised how often you'll need that little bit of extra force in the legs to do it again and again and again. So we spoke about aerobic and muscular endurance. They're quite simple things, but often overlooked. Hence you saw how how I spoke about my muscular endurance, how I overlooked it and focused on doing too much intervals, too much steady state training. You need to have that balance in it as well. So natter with your coach, get them to give you a bit more enlightenment on it. Have a good search through Google, see what else you can find. I'm always here to help if you want advice, and I will see you in the next training tip. Take care guys, bye bye.